Focus. Ideate, innovate, enable.
In a globalized world, one where countries, economies and companies are more interconnected and interdependent than ever before, risks that once seemed improbable and even remote have become the norm. The threats from disruptive technologies, societal shifts and a complex regulatory environment are all adding up to the risk landscape. For business leaders across the world, expect the unexpected has become the mantra. Over the last couple of years, Indian organizations have been attacked by a number of low-probability, high-impact events. An environment of corruption hit the corporate sector quite unexpectedly over the last couple of years. Since 2010, corruption cases have seen an unprecedented growth. A FICCI Pinkerton India Risk Survey 2014 shows that 1. Corruption, bribery, corporate frauds. 2. Strikes, closures and unrest. And 3. Political and governance instability were the top 3 risks that organizations in India faced in 2014. In the current global economic environment, identifying, managing and exploiting risk across an organization has become increasingly important to the success and longevity of any business. And many Indian companies are strengthening their risk mitigation practices, thereby building risk resilience. CNBC TV18 has partnered with ICICI Lombard General Insurance to initiate the India Risk Management Awards to salute corporations that have put in place a robust risk management infrastructure.
If human beings never took risk, we would have remained cavemen. So it's important for all of us to take some risk, and at the end of the day, without risk, there's no business. But I think it's equally important for people to be conscious of the implications of that risk. And we need to quantify that. At the end of the day, whatever risk we take, when the unfortunate event that may happen does happen, someone has to pay for it. Either the banker, if the company is bankrupt, pays that price, or the shareholders pay the price. And I think it's only fair for the shareholder to know what kind of risk is being taken in the organization. So risk taking is very, very important. That's what business is all about. But it's important to understand the consequences of the business calls that you take.
The India Risk Management Awards 2015 evoked a tremendous response. This was possible because of a specially created microsite for the India Risk Management Awards 2015 by CNBC TV18. To ensure that this whole exercise of picking the organization with the best risk management practices in the country was done scientifically and impartially, CNBC TV18 roped in the country's foremost consulting firm KPMG as its knowledge partner. In the first stage, KPMG used this basic data gathered from CNBC TV18's microsite and through its able staff across the country gathered first-hand information from the participating organizations.
As we had the discussions, the nominees were, they were excited that these awards were happening and somebody was recognizing the fact that risks are integral to doing business and are important as a growth agent rather than a deterrent to growth. Secondly, I saw a lot of curiosity and a lot of desire to gain knowledge as to what risk management is all about, what should be the ideal state for a risk management function, and also to learn from some of our experiences, because we were talking to so many companies about their risk management policies. So in all, there was a high level of enthusiasm. There was a great degree of desire to actually project or demonstrate that they were doing, they were executing risk management in the right way and right manner, and they wanted some affirmation as we, spoke to them as to whether what they were doing was in line with some of the best practices that are there around the world.
In the second stage, the corporations shortlisted by KPMG were further evaluated in the pre-jury round. Huge data was quantitatively evaluated by the jury and whittled down to 10 to 15 nominees in each category. The third stage was the final jury round, in which these nominations were presented to the esteemed jury, who had a tough task at hand as they had to pick the final winners in 12 different categories. the winners were finally announced and felicitated at the India Risk Management Awards held on 7th May 2015 in New Delhi. So who are these companies which took home the prestigious trophy? Find out after a very short break. The India Risk Management Awards were held on 7th May 2015 in New Delhi. The winners were finally announced and felicitated.
It's time to kickstart the awards presentation ceremony.
Firm of the Year, Information Technology.
The winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Mindtree Limited. I'd like to invite on stage the Chief Risk Officer of Mindtree, Sushant Pai, to receive the trophy. Now here's a look at the second award category this evening.
Firm of the Year, Infrastructure.
The Firm of the Year Infrastructure is Bharti Infratel Limited. From Bharti Infratel, I'd like to invite its MD and CEO, D.S. Rawat, and CFO, Pankaj Miglani.
We are in a business of very distributed operation. The towers that we manage are spread across the length and breadth of this country. They are exposed to the external environment, so environment still remains as one of the key risks that we come across, especially given the challenges that we saw in J&K or Hudhud or a Falin before that, and these can come from sides which are not predictable. So preparing the organization to see that we do the restoration work quickly, bring back essential communication to people is one of the key areas. So we define, as a structure, we define the top 10 risks for the organization and try and see that there is a mitigation plan to each one of those top 10. We do not prioritize them as 1, 2, but we keep the top 10 always at the management radar so that all people are aware of that and we work towards mitigation of those risks.
So there's a framework which exists within the company. You've got a risk management committee which identifies the risks. There's a proper well-drawn process by virtue of which we are able to identify all our risks and then work around mitigation of each of the individual risks.
Firm of the Year, Auto.
The winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Ashok Leyland Limited. I'd like to invite on stage the Chief Risk Officer of Ashok Leyland, Mr. P.K. Ranganathan.
In Ashok Leyland, the success factor in risk management is that we take emerging risk as the key factor in terms of identifying them and integrating them along with the business plans. While the business plan is made, the emerging risks are also quite very well identified at the beginning stage itself. That helps us to formulate the appropriate mitigation measures and ensure that during the year we concentrate on such risks and mitigate such risks thoroughly.
Firm of the Year, Pharmaceutical.
The Firm of the Year Pharmaceuticals is Lupin. To receive their trophy, I'd like to invite on stage the President, Finance and Accounts of Lupin, Sunil Makharia.
It's a great, and especially in the present scenario when the risk management is the hot subject, it's the key subject. And especially we being in the pharmaceutical company, let me tell you, for us the risk management is one of the most important activity. We have to deal with the regulators like US FDA's, product quality, and that's for us is the key thing. And the risk management award for which this function is being held, it's a great platform.
Firm of the Year, FMCG.
The winner of the Firm of the Year FMCG is none other than PepsiCo India Limited. I'd like to call on stage the Chairman and CEO of PepsiCo India, D. Shivkumar, to receive the award.
I think you need to constantly learn and be aware of what is happening around you. So the biggest risk for a company is to be inward looking. Okay, if you're constantly outward looking and you see what's happening around you, because something which is affecting one industry will come to your doorstep sooner or later. And as long as you're constantly talking about it and thinking about it, you will be prepared with a response. The biggest challenges of managing risk is there are so many parameters and so many places from which risk can come. Okay, the external environment is full of them. The internal environment is full of them. So being sensitive to risk, and more important, ensuring that your whole organization is in a sense risk sensitive, is something that everybody needs to do.
Firm of the Year, Telecommunication.
The winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Bharti Airtel Limited. I'd like to call on stage V. Shrikant and team from Bharti Airtel to receive the award.
Well, it's how does one insulate the company from the new age risks? It's really not 100% possible. You have to be aware of all the risks, and you should know what are the possible ways of mitigating the risks, and you have to involve your employees. You need commitment from the board. The tone at the top makes a big difference. That's the only way you can really face the world. What are the real-time challenges that we face while managing risks today? I think this is about, as I said in the plenary there, this is about understanding what customers really want, what's going through in the minds of the customers, and how are they going to really take the telecom sector forward. And I think for us, it's the predictive analytics which is really the most important mitigating factor for the risks.
Now, whenever you see a successful business, remember someone once made a courageous decision. Our next award bears testimony to that. Here's a look at the category.
Jurors Award for Commitment Towards Risk Awareness.
The Special Jurors Award for Commitment Towards Risk Awareness goes to Hector Beverages. I'd like to call on stage the CEO of Hector Beverages, Neeraj Kakkar, to receive the award and team.
Technology is the biggest risk for us. Technology is disrupting every single thing. It will disrupt my job, it will disrupt the way we distribute, it will disrupt the way we talk to our consumer, and we need to be on top of it. We're trying to build capabilities to understand it better. I think building capability in the organization to understand and then execute that is and invest ahead of the curve. I think these are the three things which are important for a resource-constrained organization. And for a smaller organization, I think it's a bigger, slightly bigger issue than probably a larger organization would face. But you have to stay focused, put your foot down and say that this is an important thing which we need to do, and we need to, follow it up.
Best Sustainability Risk Management.
Our winner here is Ambuja Cements Limited, and I'd like to invite on stage the MD and CEO of Ambuja Cements, Ajay Kapoor, to receive their trophy.
We have a very robust system. We are part of Wholesome, which is the global cement major. And we have very evolved processes which we basically take from our principal. Every year we go through a detailed cycle. Of course now boards, it's a mandatory committee of the board, but even before it was, Ambuja was already ahead of the pack. And we spend a lot of time looking at the risks, and we have both corporate risk as well as the product risk. And then we try and put together the whole framework. We also go ahead then put plans, functional plans against each and every risk, which gets reported into the board as well as into the executive management.
Best Supply Chain Risk Management.
The winner of the Best Supply Chain Risk Management Award this evening is Mahindra & Mahindra Limited. I'd like to invite on stage Hemant Sikka and K. Vaidyanathan to receive the award.
In Mahindra, risk management is not like a one-off activity. We kind of do it day in, day out. So we are continuously identifying the risk, then we are able to evaluate the risk, measure the risk, and then take actions. So whether the risk is an old age or a current age or a new age, I mean, a risk is a risk.
Private Company of the Year.
The winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Bharat Forge Limited. I'd like to invite the Executive Director of Bharat Forge, Amit Kalyani, to receive the award.
We are pushing the boundaries on technology constantly. And there are two ways you can do it. One is you have to be focused on innovation and technology. You have to create a culture of innovation and technology in your people, in your DNA. The second is that talk to your customers often, talk to them all the time, because somebody else is going to try and steal your customer away from you. Okay, if you can keep that contact and that relationship with your customer going at a periodic and frequent process or frequent interval, then they know that you're there for them and you know what they're looking for. So those are two things that we constantly focus on.
Public Sector Unit of the Year.
The winner is Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited. I'd like to invite on stage the CMD of BPCL, Mr. S. Vadrajan, to receive the award.
I think we are in the downstream oil segment at this point in time. So very clearly, I think the crude price and the dollar rupee are some of the major risks which are there. A lot of mitigation efforts have gone in. Clearly, we have got into the upstream, and once again, the pricing is going to be a risk factor which is going to be deciding most of the investments as we move ahead. I think the process-wise, the teams across the organization capture right in the beginning of the year what are the top 10 risks which they have to deal with, and a lot of plans are put in place, and ownership rests with the individual teams to work through the mitigation measures. I think that has really helped in making a success of some of these ventures which we have gotten and some of the initiatives which we have put in over the years.
Conglomerate of the Year.
The winner is none other than the Mahindra Group. I'd like to invite on stage Anish Shah and K. Vaidyanathan to receive the award.
The process for risk management across our businesses is to try and recognize what are the risks that we believe are internal and what are the risks that are external. And within external, we classify them coming from partners, customers, competition, and something we call PESTEL. Right? It used to be PEST till a few years ago, when it was political, economic, social, and technological. Now we added PESTEL to it, to added environment and legal. So these 6 risks called PESTEL, political, economic, social, technological, environment and legal. These 6 risks we track across each business to see where are the issues coming up from. Whether it's regulatory changes, whether it's new laws coming into those markets. And believe you me, for us it's not just India, it's a global thing. The second aspect when we look at, which is vulnerability. Vulnerability is, it's like, yes, there is a virus out there. If I'm fit, I reduce my vulnerability. So at the group, we try to make sure that our businesses build enough immunity to fight that. So across these two, we look at new age risks that are trying to hit our businesses.
Can we have all our winners back on stage, the jury members and presenters? Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep that applause going. These are some of the most successful and the leaders in their respective space.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.